But looking back, it's always great to know where you came from. What is up, Bills Mafia? We have 227 days to go until the Buffalo Bills win Super Bowl 57. And this channel is documenting every single day leading up to that amazing moment with a video. If you watched last night, you know that I started to show you my favorite Buffalo Bills documentary. It was part 1. Well, tonight it's part 2. It's really good. Even if you've already seen it, it's worth watching again. If you haven't seen it, watch it because it's really good. Part 2 right here, right now.
The Buffalo Bills, champions of the American Football League, are marching toward another division title despite injuries that have wiped out their number one pass-catching combination of Elbert Dubinion and Glenn Bass. Albert Dubinion is regarded as the fastest man in pro football. Today, Dubinion and Bass sit on the sideline, hoping for the day when they can return to action.
When we lost Dubinion and Bass, we realized we lost 2 of our key men as far as our ball club is concerned. And I'm very much concerned with the fact that in professional football, you've got to throw to be a consistent winner.
The Bills also faced challenges on the ground. Cookie Gilchrist was traded to Denver for fullback Billy Joe. Buffalo won its second straight Eastern Division title and traveled to San Diego for a championship rematch with the Chargers. After Butch Bird raced 76 yards with a punt return, defense ruled the day, and the Bills had their second straight AFL title.
We went out there with a badly depleted team, and we beat them rather handily, and to be the MVP was a great honor, but I think what meant more to me was being able to beat the Chargers for the second straight year.
Following the 65 season, defensive coordinator Joe Collier took over as head coach. Seeking a third straight AFL title, Buffalo was upset at home by Kansas City.
I don't think we were any worse prepared for it or didn't look to it as a big game or what. But we just went in there and we got our butts kicked. That's the only thing I've missed in my whole career. That's going to the Super Bowl.
Would Buffalo have been a better match against Green Bay in the first Super Bowl? It's a question that will never be answered, though some may try.
The Bills players will tell you they were. They might have been a better matchup against the Packers.
A lot of players felt that way. They would have been a better matchup than Kansas City at that time.
In 1968, age and injury relegated Buffalo to last place. It got so bad that receiver Ed Rutkowski, a former college passer, started several games at quarterback.
Jack tore his knee, Tom Flores hurt his ankle, Benny Russell got injured, Kay Stevenson dislocated the shoulder, and I was kind of the last guy, and they put me in, and my claim to fame is I fumbled against Oakland. We would have knocked them out of the championship race, but had we beat them that day, and if it wasn't for my fumble, we would have beaten them. But we did get the number 1 draft pick that year, who happened to be O.J. Simpson. And to this day, I always tell Ralph Wilson, you owe me a finder's fee for that number 1 draft pick.
Buffalo had the first overall pick in the 1969 draft. College football's brightest star was coming to the Bills.
The Buffalo Bills select as their first choice, first round, halfback O.J. Simpson, University of Southern California.
I've always heard there was good fans here in Buffalo, and I think I'll have a good year here with the Bills, and I just hope we can win.
New coach John Roush brought optimism as well.
They thought they were getting a proven leader, a proven winner. He had been to the Super Bowl with the Raiders. He had had several winning seasons as a head coach. So when he came here, all the players were very excited.
John Roush is going to change the world.
Roush did so by gutting the roster.
He got rid of a lot of good ball players.
He wanted his own team. There was football left in a lot of those older Buffalo players, but he just got rid of them.
He got rid of Ron McDowell, he got rid of Butch Bird, he got rid of Ederson, he got rid of myself. He got rid of a lot of good ball players.
He hated McGuire.
The reason he didn't want him around, Paul would always punt the ball and try to hit Coach Roush on the head with the ball and say, oh, excuse me.
Along with his roster moves, many questioned Simpson's role in Roush's offense.
3 years, he hardly carried the ball at all. John Roush had used him as a decoy, and they would throw passes to him out of the backfield, and Simpson had hands of stone. He couldn't catch a pass to save his life.
You talk to the players, and they didn't know what John Roush was thinking. They had who turned out to be the greatest runner of all time, and what were they using him for? They had a cannon, they weren't shooting it.
Roush never hesitated when it came to playing James Harris, the NFL's only black quarterback in 1969.
Going to Buffalo, I noticed that there were black running backs, bunches and bunches. There were wide receivers, as many as you can count, and defensive backs, all you want, but black quarterbacks, zero.
I'd be nervous either way, whether I was starting or just dressing and coming out to play. Well, I'm real happy and honored. I just hope I can do good.
Harris performed well and became the Bills' starter.
James Harris could throw a football through a brick wall.
I'm not bragging about it, but I had a very strong arm. Sounds braggadocious, but and he had a stronger arm than I had.
Harris persevered through prejudice. But he couldn't overcome the Bills' penchant for mistakes.
Difficult thing was we was not a very good team. You know, we didn't win. I was accustomed to winning. I took losing hard, and it was difficult from that standpoint.
Roush was fired prior to the 1971 season. To resurrect the franchise, owner Ralph Wilson once again turned to Lou Saban. Saban's first task was to jumpstart the stalled career of O.J. Simpson. But after 3 wasted seasons, number 32 was ambivalent about football.
Came into camp and he said, "Coach, I don't think I want to play. I'm going to go home. Forget it. I've had a tough time. I've had enough of this criticism, etc., and etc." And I said to him, "O.J., if you're serious about quitting, I wish you the best." I said, "But if you stay, you just might like it."
When Lou Saban came in, Lou recognized what he had, and he recognized this is the best player I've got, and I'm going to build everything around him.
The first thing he did was build an offensive line. They went out and they got Joe DeLamielleure, ends up being a Hall of Famer. They brought in Reggie McKenzie. They had Bruce Jarvis, Mike Myler later as the center, Donnie Green, and Dave Foley. Gets a tackle, turns him into a tight end, Paul Seymour. Takes his fullback, turns him into a blocking fullback. Jim Braxton hardly ever carries the ball that year. Turned his wide receivers, J.D. Hill and Bob Chandler, into blockers and says, "This is my offense."
They call the offensive line the Electric Company. Reggie McKenzie, why do you call yourselves the Electric Company? Because we turn on the juice.
In 1973, the Electric Company flicked the switch on a season like no other. On opening day, Simpson stunned the New England Patriots, rushing for an NFL record 250 yards.
Once they got that game, that 250 yards, it made such a powerful statement about Simpson and about that offensive line. There's just no stopping that team for the rest of that season.
The Juice christened New Rich Stadium with electrifying runs that left both fans and opponents in awe.
The thing that really made him what he was his ability to run away from everybody.
With the Electric Company opening up huge holes, Simpson ran with ease through opposing defenses.
He was just complete. He was big and strong and fast.
During the first Monday Night Football game ever played in Buffalo, Simpson topped 1,000 yards. It was only the 7th game of the season. The race was now on to break Jim Brown's single-season rushing record of 1,863 yards. By the season's final week, the stage was set. All that stood between O.J. Simpson and football immortality was a snowy field and the New York Jets.
On the Wednesday before that game, they were all sitting in a room, the offensive line, the offensive coaches, and O.J., and they were watching film. At one point, Reggie McKenzie said, "We will not be denied." And then each guy picked up on it. And then pretty soon everybody in the room was saying, "We will not be denied. We will not be denied. We will not be denied."
Going into the game, we needed 61 yards to break Jim Brown's record. And as a unit, I mean, it was just no way it wasn't going to happen. If we had to do it 61 times, we were going to break the record. It was just a foregone conclusion that it was going to happen. And once it happened, Reggie McKenzie came in the huddle and said, "Now let's go get the 2,000.
I was just like a little boy. When we went for 2003 in the snow in New York, and we had to get the last 5 yards to break the record. It was something I'll never forget. I can't even describe it. It was that exciting.
By 1974, O.J. Simpson was the NFL's most popular player.
O.J. was the consummate player that you'd pay to see.
The Bills were now in the national spotlight. Simpson was the focal point, and Saban went with what worked.
When you went to play the Bills, you knew where it all began. You knew to beat them, you had to stop him, and yet teams still couldn't do it.
Simpson posted his third straight 1,000-yard season in 1974. He was aided by an improved passing attack, led by second-year quarterback Joe Ferguson. The defense contributed its share of big plays as the Bills got off to a 7-2 start. Up next was a showdown with the rival Miami Dolphins, the defending Super Bowl champions.
We're at the crossroads. And no question about that. But it's not the end of the world. I just want us to do a job that we're capable of doing. If we die, we die together. You can get it done. You can get it done. What's more, you gotta get it done.
Late in the game, Buffalo trailed by a touchdown. With Joe Ferguson injured, the Bills were forced to rely on rookie quarterback Gary Morangi.
We're gonna go in the blue, so 53, they try to hit Bobby in the middle. Got the idea?
Number 17 responded, leading the Bills to a game-tying score.
It's all even now. It's just like an even game. Defense, you gotta do it.
The defense didn't do it, and Miami drove toward a winning touchdown. Once again, the Bills wilted in Miami.
56 seconds and we let them get off the hook. But we're coming after them again next week.
While a division title was out of the question, the playoffs still remained a possibility. Against the Colts, the defense redeemed itself. The unit collected 8 sacks and picked a 6-0 shutout. The Bills were headed to the postseason for the first time since 1966. The Bills and their enthusiastic fans traveled to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers.
These flowers are for the Pittsburgh Steelers funeral. The Buffalo Bills are going to bury him today. They're just going to put him under. We figured we'd have to pay our respects to the Steelers.
Buffalo gave the Steelers a heavy dose of the juice.
Go Juice! Come on, Juice!
Simpson softened the steel curtain. Quarterback Joe Ferguson capitalized, finding tight end Paul Seymour for a touchdown and an early lead. In the end, the eventual world champion Steelers proved too much for the Bills. It would be 6 years before Buffalo would reach the postseason again. In 1975, Saban opened up the offense. More of an emphasis was placed on the passing game and quarterback Joe Ferguson.
The passing game is not as easy to coach as the running game. There's no doubt. It takes a whole lot more hours, both on and off the field, to get a good passing game going.
The work paid off. Ferguson produced a career year in '75, throwing an AFC best 25 touchdowns.
When he went in his rookie year, that was '73, that was the year O.J. went over 2,000 yards, so Joe was just handing the ball off. But eventually they realized that this guy's got a rocket for an arm.
Ferguson, one of the greatest passers who ever played the game.
The Bills' offense went from one-dimensional to one of the best. They could score from anywhere on the field. In 1975, the unit led the league in both yards and points scored, averaging 30 per game. Defenses could no longer key on Simpson. In 1975, he once again had a season for the ages, rushing for over 1,800 yards.
The Steelers had won the Super Bowl the year before. O.J. ran for 227 yards against them.
Even against the league's best defenses, Buffalo scored with ease. The problem, so did their opponents. With the league's worst pass defense, no lead was ever safe. Although they produced a winning record, the Bills failed to make the playoffs. The following year, a cloud of uncertainty was cast over the franchise. After a 2-3 start, Coach Lou Saban unexpectedly resigned.
It had an effect on me, and it had an effect on everybody. We'd gone from a playoff caliber football team to only winning a few ball games.
One of the few bright spots in 1976 came on Thanksgiving Day. In Detroit, Simpson produced another record-setting performance, rushing for 273 yards in a loss to the Lions.
Second down and 9 at the 31-yard line. Morangi to O.J. O.J. running to the left, turns the corner to 30. O.J. at the 25, the 20, and falls ahead of the 15. That does it. He broke the record.
The game marked the end of an era, as Simpson's best days were behind him. The following year, injuries limited O.J. to just 7 games. After the season, he was traded to the 49ers.
The problem with the trade at that time was there was nothing else. The Bills had nothing else. They were 2-14. There was nothing else to look forward to. All we had was O.J. So what now?
Really cool stuff, getting to know so much more about the Bills, their history, the players. But looking back, it's always great to know where you came from. Love to hear from you about this documentary, things that you've seen, things that you think, things that you would like to share about your memories, etc. Would love to know, so comment below. See you tomorrow.